Welcome everyone to another Let's Talk Commander podcast. This is episode 3, and today we're each just going to talk about 10 of our, I guess you could say, worst commanders that we don't like to go against.
The ones that when we see them on the opposite end of the board, just feel defeated before the game starts. Honestly, and it's a bigger list than you'd think. I mean, there's 20 of them on here. That's.
Oh no! We almost forgot to introduce ourselves.
Hi,
Adrian,
and I'm your co-host Zach. We just, I guess we're a little bit rusty at this.
We before we get into our main topics, we just want to address some things. First of all,
is what he means
for our absence.
Yes, we would really like to apologize.
Yeah, Zach has been going through rehab.
Right. Yeah. Wait. What?
No.
Oh yeah. Sorry, I forgot. I did the intro wrong. I'm Zach. I've been an alcoholic for. Oh, sorry. No. Yeah, you're right. Okay. But in all honesty, I am in college still currently. I mean, if you would call it that with this pandemic going on. But I was in the middle of finals week, so I had a lot on my plate, and I also work a lot frequently, so I had that, and it was a very hectic week for me, so I wasn't able to really record that much. And between the two of us, it didn't. The videos were just kind of seeming like they didn't want to be made. Like we just having a bit of a rough patch.
We had
guess,
a video that was supposed to come out
a small hiatus
on Wednesday. What? And it just could
Yeah.
not render for some reason.
I mean,
like I tried
it did
like
now.
4 or 5
it did
times,
now,
and
but
it just kept shutting down everything.
Yeah, it was quite the kind of rough patch that we were going through. So we needed to take kind of I looked at it as we needed to take a week hiatus and just kind of gather stuff together and make better preparations. And so we're coming back stronger than ever.
You didn't cheat on those exams, right?
Of course I did. What are you talking about? I have a dual monitor setup. If you think I didn't have Google open and the notes and the slides on the other monitor, you're crazy. Because I definitely did.
Who would do that? Oh, that's horrible.
I don't know.
Zach, while he was studying, he was also studying magic cards. So he's better now.
I honestly, while I was studying one day, I actually was building a deck. I had the slides for class on one monitor, and then I was building a deck on the other monitor.
It's like you accidentally make.
I don't even feel ashamed
PowerPoint
about
presentation on your deck. On your new deck.
So if you see here, for my business class, I'm just so if you see here, the organic growth of this commander here. Wait, what? Oh,
wait
crap.
a minute.
Oh man, I got my lines crossed here. Yeah. Anyway.
For the topic of the episode.
Let's get into this video.
So we're each just going to list off 10 commanders that we don't like to go against. Zach, would you like to do the honors of going first?
I would love to. Thank you for giving me that opportunity to go first. I've been waiting patiently. So probably my first commander that I don't really like to go against the most is Nakuza, the Mind Eraser. He's Nekuzar?
Yeah, I think that's it.
I don't know. Some of these are just...
The Grixis man.
I've heard it both ways. He's a legendary creature zombie wizard for a blue, a black, a red, and 2 of any color. At the beginning of each player's draw step, that player draws an additional card. And whenever an opponent draws a card, the Mind Razor deals 1 damage to that player. Now, that just seems really annoying to me. Because, for the person playing it, it's free card draw. But for your opponent, he also has to draw another card, but he takes the damage for it, for both of them. I mean, that's just 2 damage every turn from that. And then if you run, because you're running blue, so you got a lot of card draw, you can make your opponent draw so many cards and just keep pinging them. It's kind of it's a weird version of Niv Mizzet.
Then if you have annoying cards I think it was Underworld Dreams, when your opponents draw cards, they lose 1 life. It just keeps stacking up with Nekuzar's ability.
Yeah.
And
it's...
it'd be a shame if someone built a Nekuzar deck when you haven't even played your Niv Mizzet deck yet. What are the odds and chances of that?
I don't know. Can't
It's like
calculate
we all
them.
meet up, so everyone just has Nekuzar decks.
Oh my god, that would be
While you're playing
horrible.
Niv Visit.
I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if that happened because I got to imagine that the rest of the people in our play group might be secretly making decks because I secretly made
True.
Niv Mizzet.
This is
You're the only
like
one that knows
how
about that,
this
so
is like how in animes they have that time skip and then everyone gets back and they're stronger. This is it. This is
yeah, I've been
this is
training in the
needed.
hyperbolic time chamber for
Yeah.
like, well, you think it's been a day, but really I've been in there for like a year. So I'm gonna come out. I'm coming out of this. I'm definitely coming out of this quarantine with at least 2 new decks, and I might build a third one for like a cheap budget deck, just because like I like to have a lot more like choices when I build a deck.
I think
Anyway,
I think the problem with Nekuzar, like why it's hated, it's just you're you're getting hurt just for doing like an action like like a casual action in the game,
a
like you just
basic.
draw a card.
You're,
Like
like
okay.
it's a step in the game. It's like
Yeah,
you
it's
have your
also like a
upkeep, you have your
step.
main
You
phase.
get hurt on your step pretty much.
You just because you're taking this draw step, you're getting hurt for it. It's like punishing you for playing the game.
Yeah.
It's kind of annoying. The second one that I put on this list is Kalia of
I
the
thought I was
Vast.
going next. Man, what?
Oh no, sorry. Did
Oh
you
no,
want
no,
to? I
no,
thought
you
I
go,
would.
since you said Kalia and I love Kalia, so just
Well,
go.
because
Say
you
it.
played Kalia before you dismantled it, and then another one of our friends is building a Kalia deck. I know he is. I know he didn't hint. He hinted at it being something with angels, demons, and dragons, and I know it's Kalia. I know
No,
it is.
it's just someone gave him a Kalia, and then
Someone, you gave him a Kalia, and he
I
built
handed
it.
it. I handed down the torch to burn the world.
Just because you didn't want to make it again because you knew
Yeah.
you were going to get hated for it because of what it is.
I
It's
gave him the
a-
Exodia parts too, like all of
You
it.
did.
Yep.
It's a legendary creature, human cleric, for a white, a black, a red, and one of any color. It has flying. Whenever it attacks an opponent, you may put an angel, demon, or dragon creature card from your hand onto the battlefield tapped and attacking that opponent.
Yes.
This is this is really bad, and one of the reasons is you wanted to tell them what Master of Cruelties is?
All right. So Master of Cruelties is, I think he's like a one. Yeah, it's a 1/4 demon with, that's for 3 generic black and red, but the casting cost doesn't matter because with Kalia you could just put him down into play, and with Master of Cruelty's ability is when he deals combat damage, it doesn't assign it, but instead the opponent's life total goes to 1. And then since he has first strike, that Master of Cruelty's damage will always go first before Kalia. So the combo is you attack with Kalia, you put down Master of Cruelties. Since he has first strike, if he lands a hit, your opponent's life total will go to 1, and Kalia will be able to hit for 2 and finish him.
And then you die.
And then you die.
Really, really quickly.
Yeah.
Really quickly.
But what's
And-
wrong with that though? Like I
Well,
don't get it. That's
Can I
fair.
say why? Is because Kalia is a relatively cheap costing commander, in my opinion. It's a lot cheaper than some that
Yeah,
I've
she
seen.
is for 4.
And
I
just
mean,
the fact
she's
that
a
all you need to
2/2,
do
but yeah,
is
that's
like
still really.
if you let's just say you kept Master of Cruelties in your opening hand and you just had enough mana to get Kalia out.
Yeah.
You can get this out really early. A lot of times before your opponents have blockers, win automatically.
Or especially
And
if you
it's-
have a way to like keep bouncing Master of Cruelties, so you can just keep
Right.
getting that.
I I just don't like it. But it's not just that. There's other things too. Any angel, demon, or dragon in your hand.
Yeah.
So your deck is going to probably, it's always going to be buffed out with these things that are broke.
Mhm.
And I know you say that like Kalia isn't as strong as as I think it is. I disagree.
No.
Because
I
of
say
reasons
that
like
as a
this.
joke.
I would hope so.
Like on my Kalia deck, I ran land destruction in there. I just anything to win.
Yeah.
It was fun,
Okay.
right? Remember?
It was. I have scars and bad memories of it, but like sure it was fun in quotation marks.
What was it? I'm trying to remember what else like what was so annoying about the Kalia deck. Yeah,
a
Probably, yeah,
lot.
the land destruction and the insta kill. Because
Yeah,
once
I
Kali is out and your
remember.
lands are destroyed, that
Well,
player, it's almost like a Narset thing, you know? Like, you get stuff out for free.
you had Void Winter in that deck too, didn't you?
Yeah, I did.
Yeah.
Oh, I remember. If you have a card like Conspiracy, where it lets you name a creature, and all creatures you control that are on the battlefield or in your whatever zone in your library graveyard is that creature type, you could have like Eldrazi's in there and cheat them out as dragons or whatever.
Yeah.
It's really fun, but I don't play like that because I think
Well,
that's too much.
you don't play like that anymore anyway, because you're
Uh,
just. All right. Did you want to talk about one now? I feel like I kind of
oh,
I
I
just
get to
took
do it
over
now.
for you. Yeah, go ahead.
No.
Pick one from your list. I want to know what
All
you
right.
think.
One commander that I don't like to go against is Lavinia Azorius Renegade. For a
Oh,
blue
wait a minute here.
and a
I'm
white,
fine with it.
it's a 2/2, and its ability reads as each opponent can't cast non-creature spells with converted mana cost greater than the number of lands that player controls. Whenever an
Basically,
opponent casts a
that
spell, if no
yeah.
mana is spent to cast it, counter that spell. Like what?
Basically, with this, you can't cheat anything out.
Yeah. Your opponents
have
can't
to-
cheat
you have
anything
to-
out.
Yeah, your opponents
And-
can't cheat anything
And
out.
it's so cheap, like 2 mana. Really?
No, I know.
Like I get it's a
Uh,
2/2, but still, like you can finish the game off with that easily. Like if you have a card like Knowledge Pool, it's a 6 mana artifact. It has imprint. When Knowledge Pool enters the battlefield, each player exiles the top 3 cards of his or her library. Whenever a player casts a spell from his or her hand, that player exiles it. If the player does, he or she may cast another non-land card exiled with Knowledge Pool without paying its card's mana cost. And with Lavinia, it would pretty much lock your opponents out of the game because they can only cast spells from their hand pretty much. And
There's
if they
a-
cast spells with from their hand with Knowledge Pool out, that spell is pretty much cancelled, and they have to pick a card from Knowledge Pool to cast. But because of Lavinia, it's not being cast from their hand, so it's like it just locks them out so easily. And it's like it's an 8 mana like synergy, and it's pretty cheap if you think about it for Commander.
There's so many like stacks capabilities with it where I just like one of the cards I like with this because I built the
It
deck
shuts down artifact
for
decks too.
yeah, it does. Well, one of the ones where I think that it's kind of like a broken card that a lot of people run with this is the Omen Machine.
Oh, that's a great card. That is a really cool card. Yeah.
Because like you can cheat out stuff, right? But your
Mhm.
opponents can't.
Yeah.
And it's all one-sided, and I like those capabilities. But then there's also all the other ones, like the artifacts you can have in it that kind of like locks the board state so that people can't really do anything, like Graft Digger's Cage, and then you can always blow up the board with like Oblivion Stone and stuff like that. You know, I love it. And then all the stuff that makes everything cost more to do, simple actions like attacking or getting
Or playing the game.
or play. Basically, with this card, it doesn't want your opponent to play the game. It wants you want to play the game, but it's not going to let your opponent play the game. Yeah, you're basically if you play this commander, you're basically playing solitaire because your opponent's just checked
out. It's
out.
like you in high school. you just played solitaire during English class or something.
Was I the only one that would sit in study hall with a chessboard, waiting for someone to come in and actually play it? So instead, I'm just playing myself, jumping around from chair to chair. You know, it's an interesting move there, running around the other side.
And then
but you missed it. And then Magic came. Yes, it did. And then there was a whole new outlet. But I did like chess. Chess helped me learn. It was very complex.
Great.
Chess is complex. It's not Magic complex, but it did make your mind think in like outside of the box ways.
Oh, definitely.
I was in the chess club before I was in the Magic club.
That's true.
And
Did
let me
you
tell
guys
you,
know that Zach invented chess? Actually.
Oh yeah, I totally invented. I invented the 3-move checkmate. Can I just tell you how many times I actually won using the 3-move checkmate?
Are you serious?
I guess it was just because
People
like
still
whoever
fall
I was
for that?
playing. I guess they do. I guess they do. I was playing some people in this is actually a kind of funny story. I went to chess club for like the first time, and there was a bunch of other people there, and so like the head of the chess club was like, all right, I want to see, how good you are. Play with this kid over here, and then come to me when the game's over and tell me who won. I sit down. I do the 3-move checkmate. The game's over in less than a minute. I walk up to him. I'm like, the game's over. I won. He goes, what? No, impossible. You're not done. Do it again. And so I do it again. I win again with the 3-move checkmate because he still isn't seeing it. And then I walk back up again. He's like, all right, what's going on here?
You see, guys, Zach is just so good. Like, he didn't even tell the kid, hey, good game, man. He just said, I win.
Didn't even shake his hand. No, but then you get into the competitive chess, like actually when you're playing like other schools where you have like the timer. Insane. I don't like the timer. It's too much stress. Yeah. I lost a lot of games because
it's nerve-wracking when it's there.
I didn't want to take the time to make like a move. I just would move it and then click it because I didn't want to run out of time. Okay. You want to talk about another one?
Yeah. My next one is Grand Arbiter Augustine the 14th for two.
The 14th. It's the 4th.
Oh, the 4th. Oh, why did I say 14th? What am I thinking?
You can't read Roman.
I think I was thinking of King Louis the 14th.
King Louis Arbiter Augustine the 14th.
For some reason. Okay. Grand Arbiter Augustine the 4th. For 2 generic, a white and a blue, you get a legendary human advisor who's a 2/3. Its abilities read as white spells you cast cost 1 less to cast, blue spells you cast cost 1 less to cast, spells your opponent casts cost 1 more to cast.
Yeah, I also put this in Lavinia because of that ability right there, but it's good on its own too.
It's such a simple ability, but it's so annoying. And just a heads up, most of my hated commanders, they're either like blue or white colors or just blue because it's just so controlling in stacks. It's a simple ability, but it does so much. Like, your spells cost less, your opponent's spells cost more. It's just I don't even want to talk about it anymore.
I don't want to talk about this anymore. This therapeutic session is done. I'm having flashbacks.
I'm just sick of Azorius commanders at this point, man.
Well, I mean, look at them. I mean, we only just talked about 2 of them, and they already seem like they shouldn't exist. I've seen a lot of bad. Just
like most of the time, like decks like these, like let's be honest, they don't really have a win condition. They just want to draw out the game and counter spells.
They're like
their win condition is you conceding.
They're kind of like I don't know what you would call that, like the lawful good of
that's just neutral evil.
Neutral evil.
No, that's chaotic evil. Honestly,
it's chaotic lawful. I see it as lawful. I mean, that's what I think of when I think of
Azorius. It is lawful, but let's be honest.
I mean, the card literally reads, "The Arbiter is a conduit of justice." I mean, how can you? That's.
But I also the true motives are evil.
Yeah, well, yeah, obviously, all motives in Magic are evil.
It's like, hey, I can't wait to play a quick game of Commander, and then someone pulls out an Azorius deck. Like, oh, okay. Like, you feel like a clown.
Hey, you want to play this quick game of Commander? Oh yeah, sure. I'll test out my new Azorius deck.
Yeah, like.
You know what? Never mind. I actually think I got something I gotta go do.
Yeah.
Maybe next time when you have something like an Orzhov or anything else.
Yeah. I'll talk about one now. Yours.
Yes. This one, I actually I considered building it. Like, it wasn't a full consideration. It was like it was on the table at one point, and then I just didn't care that much about it because there was other options. But that one is Oloro, Ageless Ascetic.
Oh, I miss Oloro.
Yeah.
That was like one of my very first commander decks. It was an Oloro male control deck.
Oh, I think you remember. You told me about this like a while ago when I was getting into Mill and I was building like a Phoenix deck, and you said if you want to know about Mill, Oloro, and then I never heard anything else about it. But
yeah, because I took it apart because I remember I played our teacher. I played it when I was going up against our teacher, and he He actually swore at me.
Wow. Wow.
He called me some pretty bad words that I can't repeat. This is hilarious.
Okay then. But Aloro is a black, blue, white, and 3 of any color giant soldier.
He's
At
an
the beginning of your
expensive boy.
yeah, he is. He's like for a good 3-color commander. He's like the average that I've seen. You know, 6
Yeah, I
mana.
could do that.
At the beginning of your upkeep, you gain 2 life. That's just right there. That's like wow.
And he doesn't even
Just
have to be in the like battlefield. That's just a command zone ability.
Oh yeah. Whenever you gain life, you may pay 1. If you do, draw a card, and each opponent loses 1 life. That's okay. At the beginning of your upkeep, if Aloro is in the command zone, you gain 2 life. You're just constantly gaining 2 life regardless. I mean, that's
That's
great.
especially good. Like if you have a card like Drog Skull Reaver, it's an expensive card. It's for 5 generic, a blue and white. It has flying, double strike, lifelink, and it has an ability of whenever you gain life, you just draw a card.
Isn't there what would be which one would be good for this? Because my mind tends to blank on these 2 cards because the combo is what's in my head, and I don't think of the cards in general. But like, there's Sanguine Bonds and Exquisite
Sanguine
Blood.
Bonds and
The Exquisite Blood and Sanguine Bonds
Exquisite
combo.
Blood. Yes, that's it.
Because I know it's a combo that like drains your opponent's life, I don't think of the cards individually, so I tend to forget what they do. Which one of those 2 is the one that would work best with this because of when you're gaining
sure
life?
It's, Sanguine Bond is when you gain life, an opponent loses that much life. So yeah, that's
Okay.
one
That would be the one that would work
ping
probably best
people.
with this one.
Yeah, for 2 life every time.
Yeah, it's a good combination for
Yeah,
this.
because he
And
has
he's
Alora's is great because he's just there. You don't have to do anything with him. He's just there, and you're gonna get value.
Right. I mean,
it's
you could just
you're
build
getting
a
2 life, which is like, but over time that could really help. Because especially if you run cards where it's like, if you have this much life, you win the game, kind of thing. Like
it's good to like it with the Aether Flux,
yeah,
You can
like
do it if you-
Aetherflux Reservoir,
if you
where
lock that down.
you could pay 50 life and you could hit someone for 50. And there's also that, I forgot what that card was, where if you have 40 more life at the beginning of your upkeep, you'll win the game. I think it's like Felidar Guardian or something like that. I forgot. Nope, not Felidar Guardian. It's you work on you work it out on the editing.
Okay, yeah. Well, here it is right here. I'll put it up right now.
Yeah, we'll
Look
put
at
it
that.
somewhere. It's gonna be on the screen.
The future me editing this video has put this card up.
We'll
I
be
don't
honest,
know how he found it, but
Zach and I haven't talked about Magic for like what 2 or 3 weeks or something like that.
I mean, no, I think it's only been like really 2 weeks because
yeah,
we had
2 weeks.
we had a video go out 2 weeks ago, but we edited and recorded it like a long time before that, so we really hadn't recorded any videos, and then I was busy, so it was really about 2 weeks that we haven't really talked about this, so we're getting back into it. But it doesn't mean that I stopped looking into Magic stuff, because I'm constantly still looking at Magic things regardless. Constantly, I'm like locked in here like it's some kind of meditation room, like I'm like a monk that I'm going to come out after quarantine and I'm just going to see things in a different way. Like I still play Arena all the time. Like I'm keeping my mind really sharp with this game, even though I can't play in real life. But hopefully soon, if that comic book store ever opens back up, I'm going to head there. Okay, so the next card is one that we've talked about on this podcast probably quite a few times because it's a personal favorite of mine.
Boo.
But also, if I was on the opposite end of it, I would hate to play it
Get
because
off the
it's
stage.
pretty bad. All right, I haven't even said it yet, so relax. But yeah, it's Narset Enlightened Master. All right, it's a Jeskai commander, so it's white, red and blue, and 3 of any color. Has first strike and hexproof. The hexproof is probably the most annoying thing about this card,
Yeah.
actually. Not really. You'd think it'd be the ability, but the ability wouldn't matter that much if it didn't have hexproof, because it basically
Yeah,
makes
because
it
it could be
impossible to
removed
get rid of.
anytime or something.
Right, right. Because if it was just the ability, nobody would care about that. Because you'd be like, oh, just bounce it back to their hand or do something. But you need like a board wipe to get rid of this thing, or
Yeah,
counter it at the
or since
beginning.
because of the hexproof, you pretty much need like two cards to remove it. One to get rid of the hexproof, so like
That
arcane or
that
detection
one. What's that
tower,
one? Yeah, detection tower.
or like arcane lighthouse, I think it was called, and then the actual removal. So it's like it's just annoying.
But yeah, she. Sorry, didn't want to assume anything there. She is a 3/2. Whenever Narset and Light Master attacks, exile the top 4 cards of your library, and until end of turn, you may cast non-creature cards exiled with Narset this turn without paying their mana cost. So, if you were just reading that, or you maybe misinterpreted what I said, that would probably come out like if you weren't English, and you maybe were like you spoke a different language. The only thing you'd be able to make out in that entire sentence was extra turns. That's it. That's how I look at this deck. Is just there's so many taking extra turn cards in it. Well, at least when I build it, but it's
Well, that's
anyone who
probably
builds
the
Narset. I
the
mean,
best
they're gonna put
way
at least a couple
Narset
in
is
there.
built though.
I
Extra
mean,
turns and
some people use like
or extra combat steps.
yeah, some people use extra combat steps.
Or
And
if
then they
you're
also have like big stuff to cheat out, but
or if
a
you
lot
like
of
to
time
live
it's
life
extra
on the
turns.
edge. Super friends.
Super well, yeah. I mean,
Really
it's not like it would be a bad thing to do that because it would be
it's not
pretty
as
cool because you
efficient
can
as
cheat out. I
compared to
mean,
taking extra combat steps or extra turns.
or
Though,
extra
I think.
turns. Yeah, I have a lot of extra turn cards in my version of the deck. Like a good portion of them. Not all of them, but a lot of them. I think there's like over 20, something like that.
Jeez.
There's a lot, and that's like counting
And
all of it.
then
Some of them
even
are
if
in
you don't
different
get an
colors
extra
too.
turn, you have backup like approach of the second sun to win.
Oh
or
yeah,
you could get
that
cheat out
or
omniscience.
yeah, right. There's a lot of different options of winning. Probably or you can enter the infinite also. That's an option. There's a lot of different ways that this deck can win, and some of them is like I have a lot of enchantments in mind for creatures, but you can cheat out also. Make Narset really strong, and then you get the extra combat steps and attacks. Some people win that way.
Yeah.
Some people just take so many turns that the opponent just concedes because they don't want to. 20 turns. Why am I here? It's a one-person game now. Even though they may not win in those 20 turns, somehow you just don't want to play anymore because it's like why? It's not fun anymore. That's why this is one of the worst commanders to go against. It's because it's not fun if you're on the other
She
end.
goes off so easily.
The only time that Narset is fun is when she's not on the board. Like if you bounce her, if you are able to bounce her back to the command zone to the point where it's too much to cast her, then it becomes fun because then the deck just kind of has to work on its own, which it still can because it is still powerful without Narset. Now Narset does make it a lot easier to get your stuff out, but otherwise it's not impossible to still win because then you're just using all your different mana rocks and stuff to actually cast the stuff, and that can be fun too because then you're fairly playing the game in my opinion.
Fairly? No, Magic is not
Without
fair.
well, yeah,
Magic is
yeah,
not
it's
fair.
not fair. Nothing's fair.
Nothing.
All right, you want to talk about another one then? Go ahead, pick one from your list.
My thing is my third now, right? Yes, my third commander that I do not like going against would be Derevi Imperial Tactician. But that's mostly if it's like built, stacks kind of thing, which most of them are built in the stacks way. So Derevi, it's a pretty cheap commander. It's only for green, white, and blue, and it's a bird wizard with flying. Whenever Derevi Imperial Tactician enters the battlefield or a creature you control deals combat damage to a player, you may tap or untap target permanent. And it has another ability where you could pay a generic green, white, and blue to put Derevi onto the battlefield from the command zone. Now that's just a great ability. You can avoid commander attacks, and you could do that in Flash. So you could do that
I
on your
love
opponent's turn.
cards and creatures that let you like go against the commander attacks because, I mean, yes, it's a cheap commander, but like if they keep bouncing it, it can get expensive fast. And I know
Yeah.
just with Narset, like I wish Narset had this ability. That would
But
make life so much easier.
what I hate that the card that I hate really with most Derevi decks is Winter Orb. It's a
Oh
two
God, I
mana
hate
artifact.
Winter
As
Orb.
long as Winter Orb is untapped, players can't untap more than one land during their untap steps.
I
So
know
the thing
Winter
is with
Orb
Derevi,
isn't
you could just put her or him. It's a bird wizard, so I don't know. You could put it down before it's your turn, and you could just tap Winter Orb, so you can untap all your lands.
I know Winter Orb's not a commander, but I still feel like it should be on this list of like worst cards to go against.
Oh yeah. Oh, that could.
That and Static Orb.
Is that another podcast episode that you're thinking of?
Worst cards to put in a commander deck. Episode 4. No, we don't know. Maybe.
Maybe.
We're still
What
debating on
about
that because we're in the middle of this.
commanders
So.
that we love to play against, or just commands that we'd love to play? I guess.
The opposite of that? Oh,
Yeah, the
maybe.
opposite.
It's just going to be a bunch of group hug ones. I don't know how it would be anything different. Just ones that help you, like braids or something.
Yeah, and then until they sweep you off your feet, and then you lose.
Right. They lull you into this false sense of, like, you're safe, and then they come and they get
Yep.
you. So all group hug decks are.
And my next commander that I don't like to play against is Teferi, Mage of Zalfir.
Don't say it like that. It sounds like you're writing an essay. And the next topic I'm going to talk about is
Okay.
that here are 3 reasons why.
All right.
First
English
reason
teacher.
is
Okay.
you got to be more creative with your writing, You can't just be and the next commander and the next. And in conclusion,
Don't tell our honors English teacher. Okay, man.
I'm going to.
No, please. No, they're gonna take.
She
away
taught
my-
you. She should have taught you right, and clearly she didn't. You're getting the paddle now.
Okay.
All right, anyway,
Teferi,
continue.
Mage of Zalfir for 2, a blue. Okay. I already hate this commander. Okay.
Triple blue.
Yes, 2 and 3 blues. It's a Teferi, so it's just gonna be annoying. It has flash.
A
Creature
Teferi
cards you
creature.
own that aren't on the battlefield have flash, and each opponent can cast spells only anytime he or she could cast a sorcery. It's just another card that supports the solitaire, and it combos off with knowledge pool again because your opponents are just locked out of the game.
Yep.
Pre-
I
Pretty
hate
much
the
the
other
commander that I
like.
don't like is just it's just the ones that lock your opponents out of the game. It's just
Is the Teferi Time Reveler? Is that the
that's the
Planeswalker?
Planeswalker one, the
where
cheap one where it's all over standard. Yeah.
Right, but it doesn't. It has the same ability. Where
Pretty
you can only
much,
cast
yeah.
stuff
Your
at the
opponents can
sorcery
only
time.
cast things at instant speed.
That was
sorcery
always
speed.
so annoying. I mean, and it has flash in itself. I find it weird in standard now that I've been playing more competitively. There's a lot of weird flash decks going around.
Oh
And
yeah.
I didn't notice that because I never really looked that far into the meta because I like to play Rakdos. But it's weird to me because like I see flash, like everything's flash. Like they'll have Leyline of Anticipation, but then they'll also like just all the cards have flash, and then they have means to bounce it and then flash
there's
it back out.
Wilderness
It's all these like weird
Reclamation, untap
flicker
your
stuff.
land.
Yeah, it's weird. I don't like playing against them. I don't because I can never get an attack in because they'll just flash something
Yeah.
out and block. It's annoying.
So what's another one
yeah,
that
I
you
mean-
have?
Oh, for me? Oh, jeez. I don't know. Well, actually, I do know because this is one that you think is a good one to play because you like to play it yourself. That would be Joda, Archmage Eternal. I almost said essential.
Yay.
He's an essential worker. No, Joda, Archmage Eternal. He is a Jeskai commander, or more technically, he's a 5-color commander.
Yeah.
He costs a blue, a red, and a white, and one of any color. He's a human wizard with flying. His ability, real simple. You may pay all 5 colors rather than pay the mana cost for
Woober.
spells that you cast. It's real simple, right to the point. He just has this omnipotent power in him, to just anything put it on the battlefield.
You could cheat
Omniscience
out,
for 5 mana.
Omniscience on turn 5, or
You
depending
could
on
get
how
it out
fast you can
probably
get
a
him
lot
out,
sooner
yeah.
than that
You
if you
could
get
cheat
your
out.
mana base.
Or
Didn't you say you had like you had a turn 0 win with this?
I did, but it's banned now because Flash is banned.
Oh, that's what it was.
Crab Rave. Dun, 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 dun.
Yeah, this one I really don't like playing because for one, at least I think the way you built it, I'm pretty sure it was mill proof.
Okay, hold on. At least I didn't build mine like with intention to like lock people out the game. I
Well, you
built mine
did,
to
but then
just
you
cheat
nerfed
stuff
it.
out. Void Winnower doesn't count. That void.
No, I'm not saying Void Winnower. I'm saying like you did build it really over the top, but then people started hating you and wouldn't let you play it, so then you had to take it down a notch.
Yeah.
So now it's reasonable. I mean, it's still overpowered and like unreasonable,
no,
but
well, when you play against it, you could tell it's much weaker now, though.
it's still Joda. No matter how much you're building it for the power. It's not one of the top commanders of all time for just cause it's good.
Yeah.
No matter how you build it. You can build it. You could build a budget version of this, and it's still going to be good.
Yeah,
not as
definitely.
competitive, but I mean, that's just because that's the way this commander is. That's how it's built. It was one of the first commanders that I ever came into contact with, and it really showed me the definition of power in this game. And then I built Narset, and then I also understood power. Like these are like the two. When we would play a game, it's like the two clashing titans. Yeah, you do. It is like,
and it's hard to go back.
It's a really weird thing.
I almost single-handedly destroyed our play group with Joda.
Oh yeah, this you had to dismantle it. You only just recently brought it back after like 2 years or something.
Yeah.
Because you thought it would be okay. I mean, we haven't really played it that much yet, but
I put it in. I separated the cards into 4 piles and I put them onto like a corner of the world or something.
They just kind of split up like the Dragon Balls. Like he put them in each card in individual cases, and then got in a plane, dropped them, and then they were all scattered. And he only recently found them all, put them back together. That's how you lost your Karn. Karn Liberated. Oh, you lost a Karn Liberated and a Sarah Sanctum.
No, stop! You don't have to tell people that.
Yeah, well, you didn't have to tell people about some
people
of my
are
endeavors.
Be mad. Like, you lost a Sarah Sanctum and Karn Liberated. Like, yeah.
You did. I mean, it's really your fault. I don't know how you do that. Those are kind of cards where
I was protecting the world.
Yeah, that's what you were doing. You more or less you're just being absent-minded and then just lost them.
I was protecting the world, man. I swear.
But yeah, Joda was just because what the thing about Joda is when you're playing it kind of takes over. I remember when the old version of it that was super like over the top competitive that you would lend to people. It was weird. It was like it wasn't dark
at all. But they
it was like it was a dark evil spirit that just kind of took over their body and then controlled them and won the game because
it changes people.
Because I remember you gave it to someone who was like just started playing standard and they weren't at all close to the commander level.
Yeah.
And you said, "Here, play this commander deck," and they went off like I don't even know how, but they were just going off like they knew the ins and outs of the deck, and I was like shocked. And then I'm just like, "You good? Is this card taking over your mind? What's going on here?" And
Joda is secretly a sliver.
He's secretly this ancient dark spirit.
Isn't he?
He's
with Morphon?
Isn't he? Yeah, isn't he like Joda's or not Joda, Urza's grandson or something?
I think so. I think there's.
He's someone's grandson. I don't
that.
know who. He's some like Grand Wizard's grandson. I don't know. Dad? Father? Yeah, I really don't know. Do you want to talk about one now?
Yeah, my next one would be Brawl Chief of Compliance. For a generic and a blue, another human wizard. Instant and sorcery spells you cast cost 1 less to cast. Whenever a spell or ability you control counters a spell, you may draw a card. If you do, discard a card. well, it's just counter spells.
Yeah,
It,
I remember I
another deck
debated
that
building this
probably
deck.
has no win condition, but drawing out the game and hoping your opponent concedes.
That is this game. That is this card's win condition. Is your opponent's
Because
concession.
its ability, it literally says whenever a spell or ability you control counters a spell. Like, come on, man.
Yeah, this is definitely that's, and it's a weird thing because yeah, I'll try to look at it on EDH, but they don't
It's
really.
either you
They
win by
don't.
your opponent's conceding, or you just draw out your deck and you have like Lab Maniac or Thassa's Oracle out.
Right, something like that. But this is a weird card for me because like when you go to look out like deck themes, it doesn't register counter spells as an actual like type of deck. Like
Yeah.
people build it that way, and
But
then
you know it's
when
there.
they put in the theme,
You
it's
know it's
counter
there
spells,
though.
but it's not like a actual recognized theme because it really is only prevalent in cards like this. Like I don't see it really anywhere else than cards like this. But it would be really. I feel like it's more fun than you wouldn't expect to win, but I mean maybe you just keep countering your opponent's stuff. Eventually, I'm gonna assume they'll concede. The only time they probably wouldn't is like if it's a close friend who knows that eventually you'll just deck out and you got a lot of time to kill. Yeah.
Yeah.
I could be here for 4 hours. I will wait until you run out of cards to draw. You will deck
Again,
out.
oh
It's
boy, I
soon. I
can't
don't
wait
care.
to play a quick game of Commander.
And then there's like just that's not even
There's
stacks.
Brawl,
It's just
and
a
then
stop.
there's Augustine the fourth. It's the
Yes, the 14th. I mean the 4th. Yeah, right. Of course.
Brawl, Brawl,
Brawl.
Hmm.
Brawl. Brawl.
Brawl.
Brawl.
All right. Moving
Brawl.
on to my next one.
What? Huh?
Spore Frog? Oh, you
What?
did it this time. Okay.
I
Okay.
what? No, sorry. I have a nervous tick sometimes.
Oh,
I
it's
don't.
fine.
I don't know
My
what that
it
was.
would be Urza Lord High Artificer. It's mainly for the stacks type of deck, but if it's just like cheat out big artifact stuff or whatever, that's fine. But it's mainly this one is because of like stacks, because it's another. Okay, first let me explain the commander. It's a 2 generic and 2 blues. When Urza Lord High Artificer enters the battlefield, create a 0/0 colorless construct artifact creature token with this creature gets +1/+1 for each artifact you control. Tap an untapped artifact you control, add blue mana to your mana pool. You could pay 5, shuffle your library, then exile the top card. Until end of turn, you may play that card without paying its mana cost. A very powerful and fun commander, but if you play stacks, it's another one of those cards that just goes so well with Winter Orb because you could just freely tap it on
And
untap
static
it.
orb. It's just
Yeah.
there's a but
All the
uh,
orbs. You could play all the orbs.
and I like that the its first ability is like the hint to the Karn Scion of Urza's like second ability to create the construct.
Yeah.
That's cool to me. But
It like ties in with like I guess like the lore I guess and the name. He's an artificer.
and it's
So
got like
this-
the kind of has like the Tellurian Academy thing, that like
Oh yeah, I get
with
it. Like
with the tapping affinity for artifacts kind of.
yeah, I get that.
And then
Weren't you planning on making a Urza deck?
I was planning on doing it. I probably still will. I just I already built like 2 decks, so I'm just gonna like kind of wait on it because this one can get to be expensive, with all the different like kind of stuff you'd win. And also I don't really know if I'm ready to accept that kind of hate. I mean I already get hate for Narset. I want hate for Urza when I lock everyone out of the game because they can't play anything because they don't have any mana. I don't know. I mean there's a lot of good different combos in this with this deck. And
I mean you've played Solitaire before, so I'm sure it wouldn't
Yeah.
even bother.
I'll
you.
play Solitaire. I'll probably be fine.
I'm playing Solitaire right now.
And if I don't do it, someone else will. So I mean, it's
True.
kind of inevitable that that'll happen. But yeah, this was an interesting one.
Next
I will
commander
talk about another
for
one.
you.
This one is perfect timing because this one's like basically the opposite of Urza, and that's Yawgmoth, Thran Physician. He's a 2 black and 2 of any color, human cleric, protection from humans. That's funny. You can pay 1 life, sacrifice another creature, and put a -1/-1 counter on up to 1 target creature and draw a card. Then you can pay 2, discard a card, proliferate, and then yeah, he's a 2/4. Very, very interesting card. The protection makes it strange. You always heard about Yawgmoth, with the Herb Oregon, things like that, and the fact that he can just kind of like put negative counters on creatures, and then so this deck's probably more made for like regenerative, like creatures that die come back with -1 counters and stuff like that. They can proliferate and stuff.
Such a good card.
Yeah, it is.
And it
can.
it's card draw, sacrifice outlet. Like it's like a even if you were to just use it as like a utility card, it's so
right.
good.
And cards that like have this the sacrifice means in it, and it's good.
Yeah.
And I like that aspect of it. It's different, and you never really think that you'd see Yawgmoth come into play as well as you wouldn't have thought you would have seen Urza, because they're like the cards that were like alluded to in like the lore and everything, but never really came into play. And now that they have, it's interesting how they did them. I wonder if they'll make more. Who knows?
Hopefully not.
I wouldn't like that. Anyway, next one. This one, the reason I don't like this next one is just because like I have bad memories of it in Standard, and it's more or less the same in Commander. And that's Rankle, Master of Pranks. It has 2 black, 2 of any color, Fairy Rogue. It has flying and haste. Whenever it deals combat damage, choose any number. You can have each player discard a card, each player loses 1 life and draw a card, each player sacrifices a creature. You can do all 3 when you deal combat damage. And it's not hard, especially in Commander, to just give it unblockable. And even you probably wouldn't even need it because it has flying a lot of times. That's helpful enough. And it has haste, so you can just do it right away.
Yeah, like a black creature with haste. That's actually really nice.
Like, there's so much
Very
value
different.
from this. You discard, you lose life, draw a card, and they have to sacrifice a creature. Like, for you, obviously you're running this so that,
So you get the
more beneficial to you, because you probably want to sacrifice your creatures, and you want your cards in the graveyard because you can use that to your advantage. But
and there's also like great cards to like fill your hand for black. You could have like Ad Nauseum or Necropotence, which all give you very good cards. But it also uses your life as a resource to get cards. And in Commander,
which
that's
should be
good.
always, you got to use your life as a resource sometimes. I mean,
yeah.
And you don't have to choose all 3 either. You can just choose one of them if the time is necessary for that to happen.
Yeah.
I really don't like it. I don't like that it can just, I don't like that it's in Standard. I don't like that it could be used as a commander. I don't.
It's a very cool card though for black.
Well, yeah, and I love the art style. That's a really great thing too.
The Aldrine art is so nice.
I like the whole story, it's like fairy tales and stuff.
Yeah,
that's really cool. I love those aspects. Okay, you want to talk about another one? I didn't realize how long this list was.
I think I'm on my 7th one.
You're on one now that's it's pretty expensive.
This one would be Send Triplets for 2 white, blue, and black. At the beginning of your upkeep, choose target opponent this turn. That player can't play spells or activate abilities and play with his or her hand revealed. You can play cards from that player's hand this turn.
Wow. I don't know.
It's rude. It's so rude. Like, hey, nice deck you have there. It's mine now. Like,
the best part about this is I've seen it in play before, where someone else is like playing a new deck that they just made, and then they start playing like the cards. Like, man, I haven't even been able to play that card yet. I just added it to this deck. And, well, I'm playing it first, pal. They just
you
take
got a new card? I'm gonna play it before you do.
Oh, you got a new card? Let me see that real quick. Oh, I think I'll play it. I don't like it. And then obviously all the different like things to it that just create like this broken chaos in the games. Like they just, I mean, rightfully so. I mean, this card did get reprinted in the mystery boosters, but like, it's still really expensive. And foil is expensive too. Like, it's just such a good card. I mean, I don't really know what else to say about this one. I don't like the I don't like the idea of it. I don't like the idea of playing against it because of what it can do. I don't
I
like the
don't
idea.
think
Oh,
anyone
and
likes the idea
it's
of
not
going
just like
against the deck.
just be like, oh, hey, entire table. This is what's in my hand. Hi, thank you.
It's,
Oh yeah, you want
I
this?
mean,
Okay, go ahead, play it.
in a good way, it's like, hey, this is what's in my hand. He's gonna play it. I'm not. So don't worry about me anymore.
Oh, don't worry about me casting like omniscience or something. He's gonna do
He's
it.
gonna cast it, not me.
And then there's all these different like you can cheat out stuff and too, and it's crazy.
Actually, now that I think about it, send triplets. It's like you're the avatar. You get to play with anything.
Yeah, you got all four elements.
Yeah.
I almost said five
You get
elements, but
you
I'm
get
like
to
that's
master
not a
all
thing.
of it because depending on what your opponents play, you're the avatar at that point.
You are. It's a really great deck. I love it. I honestly do. Crazy.
Ew.
Like I love it, but I also hate it. I only love it if I were on the
Well, I mean
not the receiving end.
that's the thing with all decks though. You only love it when you're the one when you're not the receiving end. It's like,
Yeah, I guess you're right. All right, what's your next one?
my next one would be Rubinia Soul Singer. For 2 green, white, and blue, you may choose not to untap Rubinia Soul Singer during your untap step. Gain control of it has an ability you tap it, gain control of target creature for as long as you control Rubinia and Rubinia remains tapped.
Huh.
I just hate cards that just take your opponent's stuff. It's so disruptive.
I love taking opponent's stuff when I have a sack outlet, because then they don't get it back.
That's great.
Even if it's like a temporary, like you gain control of this until end of turn,
Yeah.
and
It's
you're like,
like,
well, at my
then
end step,
they
I
can't
just
use it.
sacrifice it. Whoops.
Mhm.
I've done that so crazy
Because
sometimes.
being able to just take control of your opponent's stuff, it's like like send triplets. It's so destructive.
Even for a turn. Yeah.
Yeah, even just for a turn, you could do so much with that.
I don't like it. I don't like I don't like the implications of this card. Like I don't like
That
what
card it scares me.
any creature like some I've seen it's like where the mana with a converted mana cost under something or it has to be like a certain type. Now this is just any creature. So, you have like an Emrakul or something on the field, take it. You have your commander on the field, you can take it. And it's as long as this doesn't untap and you can choose not to do that. Really good. I like it.
I like it.
I like it a lot.
All right, let's go with yours then. Let's move on to yours.
Okay. Let's see. What would be the next one for me? Well, this one's interesting to me because, like, I got this from a pack one time, and then I, like, traded it immediately afterwards. That was when I was, like, on an Ultimate Masters binge buy kind of thing. But it's Gaddock Teague. Really, really cheap. Green and white. He's a Kithkin Advisor. Non-creature spells with converted mana cost 4 or greater can't be cast. And non-creature spells with X in their mana cost can't be cast. So X-spell decks just get thrown out the window for this. Big creature decks get thrown out the window with this. Oh yeah.
Zexara. Or Zexara deck.
Oh yeah. Well, it's not. I mean, it wouldn't be good for a Zexara deck at all.
Well, yeah, because it goes against the X mana cost thing. It's
right. Because Zexara is like this new thing. It's like probably one of the best new top commanders.
Oh, definitely. It's a great deck.
So if people are like trying to find out ways to like get around it, this would be a perfect way to do that.
Yeah.
It would totally lock that down, because you have huge creatures and they're all X cost. You can't play anything. I don't know. It locks out like the big enchantments too. You couldn't cast Omniscience. You can't.
Oh yeah, that's true. And
you can't
even
cast
gain
Into
value
the
from
Infinite
casting stuff because you can't play anything for free.
Because you can't even cast it. It's like the Void Wind War board lock. You can't.
It's like it's pretty much like Lavinia.
Yeah, basically, yeah. That's what it looks like. It does have that similar feel to me because the two colors and then the
They're
can't
both cheap. They're
do
both
things.
controlling.
Yeah, he looks like an old man Rudy. Looks real uh, upset. He looks like he just told you no. Like you asked, "Can I cast this spell?" And he
Yeah,
said,
that's
"Nope."
yeah.
He said, "Not on my watch. You're not gonna cast that
It's
spell."
like he's like he's like an Azorius commander in disguise, pretty much.
He's not hiding anything.
He
We
just
know who he
wanted to
is.
go to Selesnya and fit in.
He wanted to fit in, and now his
I wanna be
now he's like the
green.
old. Now he's the old cranky man that just tells
Yeah,
you
he's
no.
just cranky now. He just
Here,
says
let me
no
help
to
you across
everyone.
the street. No, I don't need you
Like
kids helping me. I'm
like if
independent.
your ball goes onto his lawn, you're not getting it back.
But if he goes through your window, just,
Oh yeah,
whew,
he's
oh
calling
boy,
the police right away
He's-
if you do
you're
anything
done.
that's bad.
You're done. uh, my next one, I really like this one. I almost considered building this deck, but I already run like an Orzhov deck. But it's A3O God of Passage. Is a white and a black and one of any color god with indestructible from the legendary enchantment creatures of the Theros thing. As long as your devotion to white and black is less than 7, A3Os isn't a creature, standard with all of them. But its main ability, whenever another creature you own dies, return it to your hand unless target opponent pays 3 life. That's really good. You can get a lot of value out of that. Like, you can, the way I've seen it built is like you have sack outlets to sacrifice your creatures for value, but then this makes it so that you can possibly get them back unless your opponent's willing to pay the life. And, that's it, like, there's a lot of different outlets too. Like the ones with like the sack recursion, that you can keep constantly bringing them back.
Mm-hmm.
It's a really great opportunity. So like, and then if you had like Sun Titan, you can get the things back that they choose to not pay the 3 life, or they choose to pay the 3 life for, and then you can just keep doing
a popular theme with Atheros God of Passage deck.
The Shadowborn Apostles.
Yeah, the Shadowborn Apostles. It's genius. Like whoever first thought of that, that was brilliant. Honestly, though.
Yeah, you can have so many Shadowborn Apostles, and then
Yeah,
and I've seen it so
cheat
much in
out
Commander.
demons and stuff.
But that's the thing. You can cheat out the demons. Demons coming out most likely one way or another, and then all of those things that you sack, they have to choose. Do they go back to your hand so you can just do it again, or do you pay the 3 life for each one of them?
Yeah.
No. That's like too hard of a decision in a Commander.
And we get
Aetherios is
using your
indestructible.
life
I
as a
mean, you're
resource,
not.
but it gets to a point where your life gets low, and you have to just stop. It's no longer a resource.
So then you just keep getting. That's the thing, is the goal of this is to get your opponent's life down so much where they can't afford to pay it, but then they don't, because of that they don't get that choice to pay it, and you can keep getting it back. So then you keep getting like recursion things of like, I'm trying to think of like what would be a good example of this. What's the name of that artifact that when a card comes into play, you can tap it and sacrifice a creature and deal 1 damage, and then untap it.
The
Blasting zone.
station.
Or blasting station. Yeah, that's blasting zone. No, yeah, it's pretty.
No, yeah, I think it's blasting station, but we'll put it up again. It'll be somewhere on. The
Yeah,
screen.
we'll just put it up. But yeah, like cards like that could just end the game, because you're gonna die anyway. I mean, you can't afford to pay the life, but he's just gonna keep getting it back.
Yeah, because with that, it's like, with the blasting station technique and stuff, you're essentially dealing 4 damage per creature.
Right. My question is like, would this death trigger be doubled if you use Teysa? Like, would they have to pay 6 life? Because if that was like, that's really crazy.
I don't think.
Like, I have it in my Teysa deck anyway, but I don't know if that's necessarily a thing.
Yeah, well, maybe someone in the comment knows.
I don't know. I don't know if that's like a thing that's ever really been asked, because this isn't. It's not a normal death trigger.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's confusing. Still though, it's like, it's a good commander. All these commanders are good, but I don't like playing against this one.
They're all
not
annoying, but they're good.
It's so annoying because you can't do anything about it. It's like you can't pay the life, but you're gonna take damage anyway. Not much you can do about that. All right. I'm just gonna. I have like one left on this list, and you have two, so I'll just get my last one out of the way, and you can do your last two. This one's actually a partner commander list, which is Ravos Soul Tender and Timna the Weaver. These go together really, really well. So for Ravos Soul Tender, it has a white and a black and 3 of any color human cleric with flying. Other creatures you control get +1/+1. At the beginning of your upkeep, you may return target creature card from your graveyard to your hand. And then Timna, obviously, is at the beginning of your post. It's a white black 1 of any color human cleric with lifelink. At the beginning of your post combat main phase, you may pay X life, where X is the number of opponents that you were dealt combat damage this turn. If you do, draw X cards. That's it's a good ability. But the Soul Tender is probably what I like the most about this list. At your beginning of your upkeep, you can return a target creature card from your graveyard to your hand, and then your creatures get +1/+1. That's a really good ability. Your stuff dies, you can get it back. There's probably, I haven't built this deck. I thought about building it at one point, but I don't know, it seems a little complex for me. But basically, I'm assuming when you build it, there's some sack outlets.
Yeah.
So that you can they give the recursion of getting target creature back. With
Timna, just having a good card draw enabler for for Orzhov, it's very good.
I see Timna in multiple different partner commanders, not just with Soul Tender is probably the most common one, but I've seen it with all different kinds.
Yeah. Because Soul Tender Ravos, he's just I think he's just a good utility commander because he's just there. Creatures get buffed, and then you could return one from your graveyard to your hand.
Right. Yeah, these are.
Was that your list?
Partner. Yeah, that's basically the end of my list. But just partner commanders in general, usually are pretty annoying. I know you run a partner commander deck, and partner commander decks in general. Bad, it's not bad, but partner commander decks are kind of.
Remember, Vial Smasher doesn't really target you.
Well, not me, no.
Vial Smasher is random, but it always picks our friend X. It's all the time.
All the time. I remember one time you said to him, if it lands on me, I'm not taking you home. And you said, I have no control over that. He's like, well, you might want to find a way to get control of it. And then it landed on him anyway, and he got dealt 6 damage.
I remember we would always even switch numbers on the dice. He'd be 2 or 3, and then we'd switch from the 6 and 4.
See, that was the mistake.
Yeah.
You should have kept him on the same number. All right, you have about 2 more commanders on your list.
One of them would be Empress Galena. Pay 2, tap it, gain control of target legendary or legendary permanent. It's another creature that just, it's disruptive because it just takes control of stuff. It's great because it synergizes very well with a Leyline card, and with Leyline cards, if they're in your hand at the beginning of the game, you just get to play them for free. This one would be Leyline of Singularity. If Leyline of Singularity is on the battlefield, all non-land permanents are legendary. So pretty much with Empress Galena, you can just pretty much take control of everything. Oh, and I forgot to mention her mana cost is 3 generics and 2 blues. But what's good about Empress Galena is that you can pay 2 and tap her to just gain control of a legendary permanent, and that's it. You could just, and there's sure to be ways to untap her and just keep tapping her again to gain control of pretty much everything.
Yeah, it's different from the other one where it has to be tapped in order for you to maintain the control.
Rubinia Soul Singer, it's different.
This one you just can keep taking control, and it's really I like that aspect of it. You can just keep taking your opponent's commanders.
Fun.
Each one of your opponent's commanders on the battlefield, you can just take it.
Or you take their lands.
Yeah, or their lands, whatever, depending on what it is. I don't
This
like,
is my land now.
and it's so it's so cheap to do. It like costs 2 blue. Like,
yeah, it just happens.
that's
And then
crazy.
you're playing blue, so there's gonna be ways to untap it, of course.
Right. Oh yeah, definitely.
And then the last commander I don't like to play against is Tassiger the Golden Fang. For 5 in the black, it has Delve, so each card you exile from your graveyard while casting the spell pays for 1. And it has the ability to pay 2 generic, a hybrid of 2. Okay, let me redo that.
I know
It
it's a
has the
really
ability-
confusing one.
Yeah, it has an ability of you could pay 2 generic and 2 hybrids of green and blue. Put the top 2 cards of your library into your graveyard, then return a non-land card of an opponent's choice from your graveyard to your hand. What I don't like about it going against is that most of the time the deck is played in like a control kind of way where it's just counter spells upon counter spells, and then you just get it back because all you have in your graveyard is counter spells, and your opponent has to choose.
Yeah.
But it's
Do I want him
also
to have this counter spell or this one?
yeah, but I think a fun aspect of the commander is mainly it could be very political. Like you could make deals with your opponent of like what card you get from your graveyard and how you're gonna use it, which is very nice.
I mean, most commanders can be political. I mean, that's kind of
Oh,
what
yeah, like
commander
Talia.
is. Well, sure, yeah, we'll call you, but like
Hey, if you don't do this,
I
I
mean-
won't kill you.
I mean, like Narset could be like political too, because there's certain aspects where if you're playing multiplayer games, you could be like targeting certain people and stuff. Be like, who am I going to attack? Who am I going to search? Whose library am I going to search to take
yeah,
control
Narset's
of
so
something?
political. It's like, all right, if you do this, I'll take 1 less extra turn out of my 80.
Right. I will pass one of my extra turns if you do that. I still remember.
I can
was
take
playing,
infinite, but I'll pass 1 of them.
I was
Just-
playing with my friend, and he didn't know that much about Commander, but I was going to see how many turns I could take with my deck. I got it up to 70. It was ridiculous. I just kept copying stuff, and it just kept getting, the number just kept getting bigger and bigger. And he goes,
Right.
wait, you're taking like 80 turns? I was like, yep. Basically, yeah. So many turns. It was fun. Really fun.
So that concludes our list, but we do have 2 honorable mentions. Zach, would you like to name them off?
Yes, I will. Well, the reason that these are honorable is because these are the commanders that became banned in Commander because of their abilities. They're still bad. They were bad to go against then. They were bad to go against now. If you're in a play group that doesn't care about the rules, you Neanderthals. But the first one is Leovold, Emissary of Trust. You may recognize him from the artwork on
He's infamous.
Expropriate. Yeah, he's infamous. He's horrible, just horrible. He is a black, green, and blue legendary creature, elf advisor. Each opponent can't draw more than 1 card each turn. So there's a lock right there. You know, you got Teferi's puzzle box. Done.
Yeah, you just play wheel
over.
effects or something.
Just
Yep.
over. Whenever you or a permanent you control becomes the target of a spell or ability an opponent controls, you may draw a card. So, you know, you get
that
card
helps you
draw
dig
every
for
time they try to.
answers as you're being
Right.
removed or something.
And because you're playing this like a soul tie
Yeah.
deck, basically you have so many
It-
different options for stuff. It's so much board control, you know.
It's so cheap, but it does a lot, like more than you'd expect.
Yeah, I know. It's I like it. I mean, it's kind of broken, in my opinion.
Kinda.
Okay, it's a lot. Obviously, it's a lot broken because it's not legal in like anything.
Yeah, you get it down, you play a wheel effect, and then you're
It's
done. It's just
it's legal in Legacy and Vintage. That's it. Crazy, and I don't blame them for like banning this. I mean, this is just another one of those ones where I wouldn't want to play against it, and I'm glad now I don't have to. The other one, I have played against this one, though. I remember that this is just a like, I wanted to put
It's
it
okay,
in my
it's
Narset
okay.
deck because it's a
Just vent.
broken...
Take
It's a
your time.
broken... Listen, it's I'm not... I didn't have, like, flashbacks or anything, but it's like a broken deck against, like, monocolored decks. I'm sorry, but It's Iona Shield of Amara. It costs 3 white and 6 of any color. It's a legendary creature angel with flying. When it enters the battlefield, choose a color. Your opponents can't cast spells of the chosen color. That's a lockout for any deck, really. Even for like 3-color decks or 2 colors.
Yeah.
You take out 1 color out of the equation. One less thing you have to worry about. They're playing blue. They can't do anything with that. They couldn't take extra turns. They can't use omniscience. They can't do any of that. It's broken.
I ran this in my Joda deck, and I'd always call blue just so I can never get countered.
Blue is probably the best one to do, and it's so good for multi deck. You know, if you're playing like a game, if you're playing a game with like multiple people, like 4 or something.
Yeah, being able to shut down.
Yeah.
3 people with 1 card. It's nuts.
But if you secretly have this in your deck and you're playing someone who's playing mono, like even if they're playing Urza, which is like a really strong command, you can just lock them out of the game. They literally cannot do a thing, and they're most likely going to concede. And they can't cast their commander. They can't cast any of the main cards in their deck. I see why this was banned, honestly. I thought about using this card once when I went against my friend who had mono white. I don't listen. He was very troubled at the time. I don't know why a man would go mono white in their entire life, but he did it.
Gisela is mono white.
I mean, yeah, but look at it. Also, it's an Eldrazi. I mean, if you brand this as your commander, you'd be going mono white anyway, though.
I remember I used to have Iona, and I would have Helm of the Host, so I'd make copies of it, and I just name colors every time it makes a copy.
You name all the colors, and then there's nothing they can do.
So pretty much my opponents could only just cast like colorless spells.
Can you name colorless?
You can't.
Oh, okay.
But I mean, they just cast. They can't cast anything but artifacts, really. So it's like. That's
right. Well, I mean, I guess there would be some kind of ways that you could work around that. Like, I mean, imagine having this on the field, all the colors locked out, and then you have like a void winnower. So it's like, okay, you can only cast artifacts and colorless spells, but they also can only be this. So you limit them so much.
When
Iona
get to that was point. Banned, Painter Servant was unbanned. And with Painter Servant, it's a 2-mana artifact. When it enters the battlefield, you name a color, and every card is that color. So it made sense that they'd have to, for things to not go broken. Because then if you could just cast Painter Servant and Iona, you cast Painter Servant, name red, everything's red. Cast Iona, everything, just name red. No one can cast anything.
But also, Painter Servant would be a good way to get around Iona, because then everything becomes the color that it isn't.
Yeah.
So like if you named like blue or red, then you can be like green, and then it wouldn't matter.
I guess it's a race on who could get Iona and Painter Servants first. I think that's how it would have become, though.
Right. It would become like just and that's what like a lot of commanders are like that too. The ones that like you have to get them out fast because then they're threats.
Yeah, like
and it becomes a race with everything.
You're just racing on like before
who can get them out first.
Yeah.
I don't like seeing decks like that play against each other where it's like whoever resolves their commander first wins, basically. It's weird because you see them competing to get their land base built up fast, and you're like, and the game's over before it starts.
At least it's a quick game of Commander.
Well, that's usually nice considering they tend to last up to an hour. Normal ones. I mean, but it's just 2 people, it'd maybe be like half an hour if you're lucky. 4 people would be a little over an hour and a half sometimes. If you go above 4, you're looking at a couple hours. That's just a thing. And then if you play 8, it's like some people, the game I don't think ever concludes because people just get lost. Completely about what's going on. I remember just because you get confused and what was it? I thought you sneezed or something.
No, well yeah, because then you have to pay attention to 8 or 7 other people's boards. It's just
right.
at
I-
that
I-
point you
I-
need
I-
like a camera, just take a picture every time. Like, okay, this is his board. It's like,
You're gonna yell across the table too.
Yeah.
I'm playing this. Any counters? Anybody? Going once.
yeah, and then
Going.
like
All right.
like priorities have to pass. It's like, nope, you go, no, you go, you go, you. Go.
Right. It just gets to be too complicated. I mean, do it if you want, but most of the time your play group's really never gonna be that big. Anyway, I mean,
Unless you're lucky, cause that would be fun still. Like that's
4 is probably the best to play.
yeah, 4 definitely. It's the most reasonable.
Occasionally 5. 5 isn't that much of a difference from
Yeah.
4. But yeah, that was
Unless
this,
that 5 is Saint Augustine.
the 14th or the 15th. I mean the 4th. 5, 8, 9.
Saint Louis the 14th. Saint Louis. He's no longer
Saint
He's a
Louis.
saint now.
All right. Well, that was
That would
basically
conclude
our
episode
video.
4 of our podcast. Oh wait, do you wanna?
That was episode 3. You get
Oh.
ahead of yourself there.
Oh no, what am I?
Are we hinting at
can
something?
you cut that
for...
out? Can you?
All right, go to commercial break.
Uh,
Anyway, yeah, this has been episode 3, and we want to again thank all of our subscribers and the people that watch our podcast and all of our different.
and again, we apologize
videos.
for our absence.
Yeah, I feel so terrible.
We thank you for sticking with us even throughout our absence.
Yeah,
It really shows that you
the
guys
natural
have
growth,
confidence in us.
even though we haven't posted any videos, is like awesome. I can't believe
Yeah.
we even we got so many
And
views just from that.
Surprisingly, our deck tech videos are still doing quite well.
They're still slowly growing, even though we posted them a while ago. I think it's because of the cards that they were featuring, like Zexara was like a really
Yeah.
good one, like and Tamia. But yeah. Well, thanks
Oh,
for everybody tuning in. Yes, you want to say something?
Avatar is out on Netflix.
It is
great.
out on Netflix.
It is awesome.
I just started watching that again.
I was water bending through my eyes when I finished it.
water bending through my eye.
Through my eyes.
Yeah, it's great.
All right, thanks for watching the episode, everyone. Spore frog, spore frog, spore frog, spore frog.
Spore frog.
Not a wizard 101.